Okay, this is episode WMS E10 washing machine series episode 10. To think there for a minute. I think I've done 9 up to now, so I think this is 10. I'm quite sure it is in the double figures. Anyway, in the previous episode, I didn't get around to taking this back door cover, the back panel of the door. I needed Torx and I didn't have them with us. I've got Torx screwdrivers now, so I'm going to remove that. It's just to get a closer look at the door lock mechanism. Also, I thought about opening up showing the solenoids for the inlet, for the water inlet for the washing machine. I'm going to remove these hoses and you might see the solenoids, the valves basically behind that. So that's the two things I'm going to do in this episode. I'm going to make it snappy because I've got quite a bit to do later on tonight, so I've got to be as quick as I can here. So just to show you, as I say, if you've seen the previous episodes of my washing machine series, you'll know where I'm at regarding the episodes. I'll do it in the right way around. This is the front panel I took off, as you could see on the earlier episodes. This is where I needed the Torx screwdriver to remove all the screws, to remove this panel, which will reveal the inner workings of the door lock mechanism. I'm going to do that now. That's the first thing, so I'll get the Torx screwdrivers up. So I've got the Torx, I think it's a number 2 size Torx. I'm no mechanic. The mechanics would probably just look at that and say, oh, that'll be the one, because they've experience, but I'm not an experienced mechanic, so I'll just have to trial and error, find the one that'll fit, and try to show the size if it's going to go into focus. Right, so I've managed to get the tools for the task, so I'm going to just simply go around the whole lot of those Torxes and screw them anti-clockwise to remove them, and then hopefully I can see the inner workings of that door lock. And I think it holds the glass in as well, so there might even be a water seal. So that's what the screws look like that come out. So I've got all those to do, so I'm going to get on with it now. Right, so I've got the last screw out, and it may just be a bit of a case of prying this panel off. Might require both my hands to do that. So, actually, I'm doing it left-handed and right-handed. So, because I'm holding the camera with my right hand, it's not quite so easy. Now, I think the glass is going to come out. In fact, it is. So, I'm going to put this down for a minute. Believe it or not, there was still actually water. That was where there was still water left. But anyway, that separated the glass from the door. This is the actual, it's like a big glass dish. That's what it reminds me of. That's what battery thing. So I'll put this on the ground just now out the way. And the door mechanism is like such. Not an awful lot to see. That's where it hinges onto the front panel. Actually, it seems to unclip. Ah, right, so yeah, it's like the pivots assemble on like that, and then it's sandwiched together, but that just basically lifted off of these nylon hinges, and then they come off. And that metal is just the fixing plate to the front panel. Oops. But these 4 nylon like runners must assemble on somehow. I'm not sure, let's just show you. Anyway, I don't have an awful lot of time to go into it. I just want to get a look at this. So that's the spring system there. When you pull on the handle, obviously it's sandwiched. This is sandwiched together with this other panel in order to make it function. So Right, I'm going to just quickly get on with it. I'm going to now remove these hoses from the valve body, which is where the inlet water comes in from to fill the washing machine up, and I might even see the valve. So I'm going to get the pliers onto there and pull these hoses off for the pipe pliers. Just set along those pliers, squeeze them together, that clip together, and I just pull the clip and the hose should just come off of the valve. While I was squeezing on with the pliers, I just pulled this clip down, and I just need to work this hose off or twist it so it comes off of here. That's to separate it. I'll do the same with the other one as well. So as I said, two hoses, I mentioned earlier on the other episodes, the two hoses, one for the pre-wash, one for the main wash. They both come on to form a jet for the centre stream of water for washing the softener in. So I'll get this other hose off as well. It took a bit of effort to get that pipe off of there, because it's not only is it pushed on the friction, there's also this lip here on it as well, and that helps retain the rubber hose onto it. So it was quite difficult to get it off. I mean, it's got to be on tight, you don't want the water coming out, so you know it's got to be on securely. So let's see if we could get into this valve body to see if we could reveal the valves. Just I think how I'm going to do that. We have to break into it. See if we could pry this white cover off. That's the electrical solenoids there. I think it's non-serviceable, meaning that I've got to break it to get into it. I'll see what I could do. I'll get the big screwdriver on it and hammer as well. Try and chisel it off. Hammer and flat screwdriver. I used this big flat screwdriver and hammer, and I just pried it off, hit the hammer like that, down on it like that. And that's why I've got one side off. I don't know about the other side, but anyway, that's the electrical side of it. The solenoid, it's electrical coil, a coil of wire, and as it's energised, it must cause using electromagnetic fields, it will cause a plunger to move either up or down to open and close the valve. Now I'm just trying to figure out how I could show that on here. See if we could break this bit out if I could. There's still water in it. Anyway, if you look back in the episodes, the earlier ones, you'll see this washing machine doing its final wash, which was only like just weeks ago. So if you want to see that, you could. I'm going to see if we can break into there. So you've got to be very careful when you're breaking things like that you don't get hurt, because using extreme force when they're levering up things with flat screwdrivers and hammers and that. But I managed to break a bit off. It seems to, like, this seemingly seems to turn, but it was meant to do that. That might just open and close the valve as it's turning. So I'm not quite sure what happens if this. I don't think that turns, so I'm not sure just how it works. I want to get this whole bit of plastic out there, see what's behind it. Try that. So I managed to pry that out. I used the screwdriver just to pry it out basically, and it reveals this little diaphragm. So I'm guessing it's like a plunger or something. It must, you know, that must be in effect the valve to stop the water coming in it. So it goes through this mesh. First of all, it goes through this kind of gauze filter, and then from there it must come in through the housing from the bottom. And this diaphragm was sitting like that before it came springing out. So I'm trying to think, it's got to come in. Let's figure this out now. Wait a minute, maybe it was the other way around actually. It might have been like that actually, because the water's coming in there, right? It's got to be valved, controlled in this bit before it comes out. So the water comes in from the mains, right? It can be a tap, or if it's plumbed in from the bottom of the sink, through that wee filter, and then it eventually comes out of this outlet, which goes into the powder drawer for washing the powder and softener into the drum. So between the inlet and the outlet, this plunger like thing sits down in that space there. So they could maybe just see the hole on the right at the bottom there. I might need to use a screwdriver to try and demonstrate what I'm trying to show here. So that bottom one there, the water will come through that bottom hole, and you can see at the other side there's this other wee hole which the water will come out there, so you could maybe just see it down there on the right of the screwdriver. It's really annoying to try and zoom in. It's really annoying to try and show you. It's hard to show you. It's really quite awkward to show, but you can see it now. That's where the water will go out of that hole and out this gland and through in the rubber pipes and into the powder drawer. So initially it comes in, that's the bit you screw your water inlet in on the back of the washing machine. It comes in from that big port down there at the bottom, down there, and then it's controlled with this plunger that sits in there. If it's open, that'll allow the water to go through that hole there and out this gland. And by the time we close the water off the machine, the solenoid will activate. It'll push the plunger down into that hole, into this round hole here, and close the passage off. That water passage will be closed off with this purple bit maybe. Something like that. So that's like kind of like reassembling it again. So looking, I don't know, it doesn't seem to reach down. It's a bit of not quite width because I don't see what's actually preventing the water coming down. So that bit there doesn't really reach down into that gland at the bottom, so unless it's just how I'm looking on it, but obviously it works, so it must. I don't know if I could shine the light through the the translucent case, but it's just to see how far down it comes in there, but I can't see it, so I'm not quite sure how that would. Because it's always going to be in the closed position. When the power's off, it's going to close. There's a spring, there must be like a spring or something in there that. I'm thinking actually, I don't know, if I could break into this bit and see if that will reveal any more. I'll chisel off the other housing as well. Before I managed to chisel it a bit, I haven't actually removed it completely. I just want to see what's going on before I take it out completely. I'm actually going to remove this gauze filter as well, see what's behind that. Remove the gauze filter, that's the initial filter that the water will go through, and that sat inside this housing. That's where it screws on for the hoses to screw on the cold hose. And there's like a plunger in there as well, like a kind of diaphragm down at the bottom. We'll see if we can pull that out with the pliers. Pulled it out. So water comes in, goes through that filter, wherever it's just disappeared to where it is. That sort of washer, seal, came out of there as well. Came out of that gland. So I'll remove the rest of this solenoid. I don't know if this has got anything to do with the operation of it. It's difficult to just demonstrate this, but that's what it looks like. So it looks as though this is a worm gear. So that as the solenoid pushes down, it must turn this worm gear, which closes off the water gland. No, I'm just. Yeah, I think I've figured it out though. Yeah, the water comes in from the back here. That big outlet there is higher up than the bottom outlet. there. So it's really hard to describe this. That outlet was just higher up than that outlet down there. So when this solenoid activates, this worm, it's like a worm screw. So basically it'll turn, and as it turns it's screwing down to close it and screws up to open it. So there isn't a spring as such, it's just in the screwed down position. So it's got to be, I think it must automatically go in the screwed down position when there's no power applied, just as a safeguard so that the water doesn't go in the machine when the power's off. But that certainly is a worm gear. You can see it's like a lid on a can of, a bottle of juice or something. There's a thread on there which means that will screw up or screw down, and this will be the valve. So the water, as I say, will come in from the back through the filter. That's just to catch any debris and that. So through there, and there's this washer as well that kind of seals things up a bit. There's the worm gear on the other valve that came off completely. I destroyed that one getting off. So the water will come in through this gland on the right, which is higher up, and in order for the water to go into the machine, which is coming out of this gland, this has got to be screwed up to allow a passage for the water to go through. And when it's time to shut the water off, so it doesn't overfill the drum, the solenoid will turn in a direction, the opposite direction, and it'll screw this down to block the path for the water to come in. That could only be the way I could understand how it would work. Don't quote me, as I said on all other videos, this is only for entertainment purposes only, don't quote me on it. So I'm just taking a sort of guess on how it's working, judging from what I could see anyway. And it looks as though this is non-serviceable, so once it's broken like this, I don't think that it could be repaired again. Replace the unit, I reckon. I mean, I could hit that with a hammer, but it's not really going to show much. I mean, I might do it, see what's in there anyway. I'll probably do it with the one that's broken, this one, just to see what's in that bit. Battered the hammer into the casing. You can see the coil of wire in there, so it works on an electromagnetic principle. I'll separate the screwdriver out here and see if we can break some of the plastic off to reveal more of this coil. Right, so I've just totally destroyed it, but in the process I could see the copper coils of wire. It's really just an iron core with the wire in there that will cause a mechanical movement. That's how a motor works, it's just apply current. And there must be a magnet or a core in there or something that see if we go further into it. So I've got right into it's just like steel wool, although it's copper wool. So that's really fine wire. It's quite interesting now, it looks quite exciting, but it's really all it is. And so I don't know about a magnet. I think there'd be a magnet. Something must be magnetic, I would have thought, in order for it to work. I mean, unless the metal acts as the conductor. Electrical connections, where do they go then? So that's the electrical connection, so I must energise. No, so where's the magnet? That's what I'm going to wonder. I wonder if the magnet's in there then. Miles and miles of this copper winding. There's no magnet in there, but that will become electrically charged when it's connected up, because that's where the wires go on to. So I'll look at the other end. Gives you a scale of how much copper there is in there. So I'm a bit puzzled as to where the magnet is. This is something to do with this metal core, maybe. I don't know. But it works on the electromagnetic principle anyway. That's how a solenoid works. It basically causes this to turn somehow. So it works on the principles of a motor. It's just two wires and they're two coils separate. I don't know. I'm not too sure. My dad's away out in the car with my brother, so I can't even ask him. So I'm just going to guess for now. Anyway, I've broke it open. I'm going to have to go. The time's marching on, but I'll put them in an orderly fashion and get a few picture shots of it. Yeah, I'm actually running behind time now, so I'm just going to have to quickly wrap this video up. So I'll put them in an order, just show you roughly, summarise, get some photos, and then I'll round off the video. So I was being particularly careful to make sure none of this went into my mobile phone battery pack or any of the plugs or anything on it, because it will short circuit. This is a conductor and it's very, very fine. So I was making extra careful that I didn't get interfered with any of that, the battery charger or any of the connections to my phone. I'm just saying you don't want any short circuits. Right, we'll get this into an ordinary fashion and I'll get this wrapped up, this video. During the tidy up, to put them on in an ordinary fashion, I noticed, I remember this came flying out when I took apart the other one, this solenoid, the one that I've destroyed completely. This must be an active plunger. I wonder, that's not magnetic. It's not magnetic, but that must be the actuator that pushes against the plunger. And as I say, it's the first time I've opened this up, so I don't really know how it works, but I can only assume that it goes into there. And it's directly acted upon using the electrocoil principle. So whether both coils become energised or something, I don't really know exactly. As I say, my dad's away out, so I'm not able to ask him. He's an electrical engineer. But anyway, so I have to just get this video wrapped up. These, by the way, were the hinges for the doors, so I'll get that tidied up. Take some still photos. In sort of an ordinary fashion. So this is the door glass. That's all the fixtures that hold that panel, that locking panel, to the inner side of the door, which also holds the glasses in place as well. It's the door mechanism that you operate. There's a spring mechanism in there as well. That must work in relation to the back panel there. You've got the main, I think there's a bushing for the nylon bushing for the hinges. Let's go in. Then moving over to the inlet valve for the water. That's the water glands, the assemble. That's the whole moulding for the water. That's the electrical bit, the coil and that. Then you've got the plunger, which will be the directly acting on the water. It'll act as a valve. And you've got this push shaft, or rod, that must push down on it. I can't find any magnets in here, so I'm not quite sure just how exactly how it must energise both coils, but it certainly works on the same principle as an electric motor. So then you've got your hoses for the inlet and outlet, and they're just held on with these clips. You use pipe grips or pipe pliers. I just used ordinary pliers to press down on them, pry down on them, slide the clip down, and then just work the hose off of the gland, which was not easy, by the way, because you've got that lip on there to ensure that it doesn't come off. That's your inlet nozzle, inlet filter for the cold water that comes out the tap. It goes through this gauze type filter just to make sure no dirt particles get into the valve assembly. And you've got like a rubber washer just to seal water for water purposes. That's the nylon, I presume it's nylon, like the threaded bit that will turn, and as it turns it will either move up or down. And the mechanical movement will be done through the electromagnetic principles, electromagnetic force. And that's really it for this video. That was it. Just have a look at the inlet for the water, the inlet valve for the water intake, the front panel door lock mechanism, and all the glasses they've held in as well. It's just held in, sandwiched in between this white bit and the rest of the door. You see the spring assembly for the door interlock. The interlock must go between this locking system. I went through that in the other video to prevent this from opening, so it must kind of hamper this. It must put something in there, plastic or something. It must hold this from, it'll prevent it from being opened anyway. It must hook onto there or something. It's done again by an electromagnetic coil. You'll see that in the previous episode. I went into what I understood how it works anyway. So right, I'm going to wrap this video up now. It's going to round it off. So that's it. Okay. On the next episodes, I might just do a sort of farewell for the machine, because I've pretty much opened up everything that I can. The only things I haven't opened up is the actual main motor, the wash machine motor. I've took that off separately. I'm going to keep hold of that as a unit. I don't want to destroy that because that could be useful. And the pump, the actual, I've got other previous pumps because I've done videos in the washing machine before regarding changing the pump. So I might do another future video actually demonstrating how the pump works with water and that. Now it's getting dark. In case you're wondering why I do things like this outside, it's A, because it's not making a mess of the house, and B, it's not disturbing people. It's a lot easier just to do it outside at the backs here. And it's getting dark, it's getting late, and I've got and actually running really late now. So I'm going to round the video off. That's it for this episode. See what else I put up on my channel, and thanks for watching. Bye for now. Bye.